Yeah, I don't believe it. I mean, obviously I've turned the video back on again, and it's 4 hours now. It's 12:09, so I'm definitely going in a minute. I'll just leave this overnight. 60 milliamps still, but the bit I can't believe, while I was away, I was checking my YouTube stuff. People that I'm what's the word? Subscribed to, yeah. Obviously Robert Murray Smith is one of them, and on the day I swapped to a can like that, I see that he's also done the same. I just watched the video now. Strange on that, isn't it? Great minds think alike, you see. Obviously his is greater than mine, but there you go. Yeah, just thought I'd I think I'll put this bit at the beginning of the video as well, because if Robert actually watches this particular one, then give him a laugh at the beginning, I suppose. But yeah, he's used the can from a capacitor. Obviously chopped the top off and stripped it out, and he's using that. So hey ho, there you go. So there you go then, 12:10, 4 hours and 8 minutes, 60 milliamps. I was going to say I'll speak to you in the morning, but it's already Sunday morning, so I'll speak to you later on today, folks. Bye. Bit of a fresh idea today, for a very similar cell. All of the same infrastructure really, no change there. But what I did was, if you saw the last video, that can with the magnesium poking right up there, I thought, well, how can I get this into a battery format, for one, and two, to utilise all of the magnesium, almost all of that rod. So there you go, I've built one. Yeah. Battery format, or battery shape, I should say. And what I'm going to do, I've got one on test there as well, another one, which has been in dead short now for, I think, about 4 hours. It started off, it did actually give, with some pressure, 400 milliamps initially. It's got some pressure on it there, as you can see, a couple of iron bars there. It's not a massive amount of pressure, and to be honest, I haven't even thought about wetting it out for a while, so I'll do that now. Yeah, 40 milliamps there, look. Wanted freshening up. And this is the other thing, I mean, that I know I can take the top of that and seal it, to retain the moisture in the electrolyte. So as I say, that one's been doing 30 milliamps now for about 4 hours ish, something like that, which I knew it would anyway. So you just have to find, it has to find its potential, as I call it, which is the point at which it will do a circle, give the current and regenerate itself at the same time. So that's that bit. I've made up some electrolyte there. Everything's a bit messy, and as soon as I've finished this video, this bench is being tidied up to make some more of these, which I made that from one of these bottles. Now that there is electrolyte in with the carbon, which I'm going to inject into this. It's quite tightly packed, and I wish I'd have sort of soaked this beforehand. It's difficult to get it in there, get this thing wetted out, and I'll pause the video for now. Wouldn't want to bore you to death anymore, so I'll pause that and I'll come back. Because this is packed so tightly, I'm just literally having to drip this, as you see. It's going to take a while, because it is very tightly packed, and what I'm hoping with this one is that I've got some pressure on that cell to save having to do this Heath Robinson effect. So I'm sure anyone in England will understand that phrase. So this is a bit like the hospital really, a drip feed, look. A little bit at a time. I've got a bit in there, so I think what we'll do is just check the voltage, see if we've got any voltage yet. Take it from there. We've got, right, we're not reading anything. Give that a clean, I think. Nothing significant yet. Let's see if we've got any voltage. And the answer is yes, we've got 1.8 volts. Fairly stable, going down a touch, fraction, very, very small fraction. Yep, okay. 1.8 volts. So I'll carry on and try and get this thing topped up, and I'll be back. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, I will pause this video. What I've done is just removed all of that weight off of this cell, so you can see what I've done. That bit there was from my what did I call it? My amazing cell. I'm sure you remember it if you watched the last video. I've taken it out of there, and I've used the magnesium there. The reason being, I can clip onto this. I know you're not going to get the true reading on volts with that screw because it's a piece of iron, nickel plated iron, but it saves me having to hold the thing pressed on the magnesium. So here we go. I'll just put this back. Now there will probably have been some regeneration in the sort of 30 seconds that this has been disconnected for. Actually, it's got worse, look. It was 30 milliamps. Don't know if I've got a good contact. Yeah, it is quite wet, but I'll just put a drop in there anyway. Actually, no, it's quite dry underneath, so of course we're still not getting even that 30 milliamps now. So that's 20 milliamps. That's where we should be. Sorry, 40 milliamps. So what we'll do, this is the dead short, obviously. Put a bit of pressure back on it, look, 50 milliamps. Okay, so there's no pressure on that now at all. I'll just, while I'm talking, continue to drip feed this one. Now you saw the volts, 1.8 volts. No idea at all if this has got any current yet. I mean, it should have a little bit of residual, but we'll put it into short and see. Crocodile clips are not in the best of order. Okay, let's see, shall we? Okay, 210 milliamps so far. Now is it going to go up or down? I don't know. While I'm doing this, I'll continue to drip feed the electrolyte. It's nowhere near full yet, so I probably shouldn't be doing this at this stage. I've no idea how much electrolyte's in that cell, but it was really just to try it. I think I'll just put this back on the other one for the moment and carry on filling it. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video again and look at this carbon everywhere, look, and carry on topping this one up. I'll speak to you in a minute. I think I've almost got the thing topped up. It's looking quite wet on the top, so I'm just holding a bit of pressure on this other one because it's still doing its 30 milliamps, look, which is a bit the same as my other cell. I just wish that all of these mixes at the moment are just, with these two salts, are just 50-50. I just haven't got time at the moment to sort of mess around. I'm just obviously just trialing a new way of capturing the cell pressure, really. That's all this one's about, because they do want that little bit of pressure. It holds everything together. So that other cell, that one that went on for the 60 hours, so I've took the pressure off there now, look, see, pressure back on. Doesn't need a lot. Yeah, where was I? That particular cell that went on for 60 hours, which was that one with that magnesium with the screw, and just didn't give up at all. I don't know what the mix was. I know it was those two salts, that much I do know, but I can't remember whether it was 2 or 1, i.e. 2 of the Himalayan salt and 1 of the sea salt, or 2 of the sea salt, and I can't remember, but it's obviously a concoction of the two. So that's the electrolyte I'm now using. The earlier videos, of course, I was using the Laser Saber mix, which was borax, alum, salt, and what was the last one? Oh, Epsom salts, isn't it? Epsom salt, yeah. So not a bad mix, you know, works, but didn't really offer the type of current that I'm after. Whether this particular formulation will give me the type of current I'm after, I don't know. I don't really think so, but I've yet to try. I did say that I've ordered some metals, and if I can find them, okay, that is a titanium foil, and that one is a bit thicker. It's a nickel plate. I think that's 0.8 of a mil. So I've yet to try those. I'm hoping to try them today or tomorrow. It's quite late at the moment on a Saturday evening, so this is the one that I want to try now, obviously. So if I can get some more in, I will. Some of this one would be good. I've just realised I've been putting distilled water in there instead of the electrolyte. Oh dear. Never mind. It's late, I'm tired. And this one, which is the carbon with electrolyte in the carbon, which is how you need to do it, really. Try and get a little bit of that in. So I'm just going to give that a few minutes and I shall come back. I've just obviously started to connect this one up. First things first, I think just get that any closer. I will just take a fresh look at the voltage first, which is okay, 1.7. So that's the voltage. I'm not going to concern myself with voltage too much these days. Get some sort of a formulation down first and then worry about the voltage afterwards. When yet ideally we want a 1.5 volt cell, but the nature of the beast is the nature of the beast, and what we get is what we get. Then we can work on high voltages later on, so by which I mean up to 1.5 of course. If you get 1.6, 1.7 bonus, but I doubt it. So here we go. I'll connect up the current. Obviously, apart from the few seconds I did before, that's the first time this has been connected up. And straight away you get some bubbling there, look. So we've got a reaction within the cell. Now this is brilliant. I am going to order a load of these now. I made a mistake actually with the price. I did say they were £1.50 for 10, but they're actually £3.50, which is still, whichever way you look at it, 35 pence each, and they are absolutely spot on. Put anything in those, any electrolyte, and just squirt it in. And I am, however, going to move to a gel electrolyte, but that's got to be worked on yet. So there's the current. Now the voltage, interestingly, on this is still 0.6 of a volt. In dead short, look. That's interesting, because you're normally way down to 100 millivolts, but we've got 663 millivolts there and no signs of dropping quickly. So obviously that the pressure, that there's quite a bit of pressure in there, because I had to squeeze everything in, and all I've got around the outer perimeter of the that piece of, where's it gone? Oh yeah, that piece of magnesium obviously is a separator, which I've taped onto this. I've put 3 layers as well, so whether that's helped or not I don't know, but I've put 3 layers on. And like a foam spongy thing around the outside, and I was hoping that it would absorb obviously the electrolyte up, but it's proving difficult because it's packed very, very, very tightly. It really is tight in there, which is in one way what we need. But see, that's 690 millivolts now, and that's 190 milliamps, and that's in dead short. And normally they do drop quicker than this, but obviously that's a well-made cell, whereas that thing in the last video was just a hodgepodge. Interestingly enough, I was looking at I googled carbon batteries, and I was looking on Wikipedia, and what I've actually designed there, what I've got is what they designed in the 1960s, and it was called the inside out battery. Because that should have a metal can, if I can find that carbon cell. Yeah, it was a metal can, a zinc can like that, with a carbon rod. So your anode, which is your zinc, is on the outside, and your cathode, which would be the carbon rod, is on the inside. That's all modern batteries now, of course. I'm opposite. So what I shall do, I will actually, hopefully I'm going to try this nickel, and it's a very thin foil, so I could wrap it inside of this, and maybe my carbon rod as such I would formulate from carbon fiber weave. If I can find a piece. So essentially what I would do is quite literally roll it up into a rod, and then that would be surrounded by my carbon, activated carbon, and that would be my outer shell, my anode, inside of that plastic case in there. So yeah, the problem is the construction of a cell. Once you've finalised everything, you've got to find out how to construct it, but I'm not concerned with that right this minute, because you know, obviously I've got I need to get the chemistry right first with the electrolytes, which is going to be an uphill battle, I know that. It's not going to be plain sailing, because if I was trying to design a battery, you know, a wow battery for the future that is 1.5 volts, and when it's excuse me, when it's used up you throw it in the bin, or even a rechargeable 1.5 volt cell, it's fairly easy really. I mean, there is nothing difficult about it. Making them small is the difficult bit, so you get more bang for your buck. The difficulty with my side of things is I've always maintained, I mean, I could swap right now and go to making a rechargeable battery. You know, it's not a problem. All of the technologies are out there for you to see and for you to change and all the rest of it, but this, everyone should know by now, in my heart and in my head, I want a fully not rechargeable, not a throwaway one, but a fully revitalizing cell. Self-revitalizing, we should say. Now obviously that's only just got to 180 milliamps. Well, okay, 170, I'm telling lies, look. That's lasting quite well now. This is better than any of the others that I've made, obviously. Although this one, you know, when I first put this one on, it did actually give a very good peak. Now, I don't know, is that because there's a lot of carbon weave? I don't know. I don't think so, because the activated carbon is just in this local area to the magnesium. So, but again, of course, traditionally I know that the more times you connect it and disconnect it, the better it gets, so, and the better peak voltage you get. I think I showed you that yesterday with this one, where we got, I think it was 600 and something milliamps peak, and originally I did get losing myself again, 980 or 990 milliamps. So, but there's an awful lot of carbon in that, which isn't the way I want to go. I don't want masses of carbon like that. I've just tried again putting this carbon into a binder, and there it is. It's not in a powder format, it's actually, it crumbles. That's the problem, look. That's the problem I'm going to get. So I'm trying various binders, and I'm trying different amounts of the binder. Of course, the more binder you put in, the less effective the material is going to be. That's the problem. So I'm going to try a couple of those next and see how I get on. Meanwhile, I shall end this one there. 170 milliamps still up. We'll see how long it lasts and see what point it actually gets down to. I'll be back. Was to actually, what I've just talked about, actually do that, which we did with the other cells. You leave them for a while, reconnect, and the peak current goes up. So we'll do that now. Okay, so the peak there was 270 milliamps. So if we just leave that for a second or two and come back and see what goes on. Meanwhile, I'm just going to wet one of these out, these other efforts. Okay, let's try that. It's probably been about 30 seconds ish. See, that's exactly what I was saying. That was 310 milliamps then. The more you do that, the better the cell gets for some reason. They love current. They love giving a current to a load. Which in this case, that's an idea. Everyone seems to be using a small electric motor, and I found one today. I've lost it again on this bench somewhere. If you could see the whole of this bench, you would see exactly what I mean, and it is in the next 10 minutes going to get majorly tidied up, because yeah, I found this motor. It was out of a CD player in actual fact, and it works all the way down to 0.3 of a volt, which is brilliant. Now I can, as opposed to doing a dead short, now I can do some testing and work out in a proper fashion what these things are doing with a given known load. I know you can do it with a resistor, but it's all the more dramatic on screen, isn't it, when you're running a motor? So there you go. But that thing's at 180 milliamps now, look. They do just get better. So what I'll do that one more time. We'll just leave it for a minute. I'm not even 100% sure that this cell is topped up yet. I have no idea. The problem is with this carbon fibre weave, to be able to keep it one piece and cut it, you have to put masking tape on the back, and it stays in one piece. Of course, all I can see inside there is masking tape, and I can't see anything else. So that's that. So again, I don't know if it's completely full. But yeah, well, let's just connect that again and see what the peak current is this time. Okay, 310 milliamps again. Not a bad cell. Quite good, I think, actually. I mean, a far cry from an AA cell, which, if I can find one, no, there's one. You know, that's the difference, look. But the rest of it will come. I haven't, as I've said before, used any graphene or graphite or anything around these things yet. So when you start talking about nanoparticled surfaces, that's a whole new ball game, different story. I'm just trying to get everything right at the moment. I don't know whether I'm going to keep or retain that carbon fibre weave yet. I think I will once I get this a sample of a material that I'm after, which promises to be something else, something very special, but I won't say too much about that just yet. 180 milliamps, look, they just get better. They need conditioning. I think it's this this thing that John Bedini was talking about with the those not lead acid batteries, but they were lead and alum batteries, and they pulse them with very high current, a high voltage and quite a bit of current pulsed initially, just to sort of condition the cell in some way. And I think it's probably a bit like this one, to be honest. Now I think I'm starting to get some electrolyte in there because it's lasting at the levels a bit longer. So I will continue to, I'll leave that on now, see what it gets down to. If it goes down to 120 milliamps in the next, I don't know, half an hour or so, I will put the video back on and show you what's going on. But that's it for now. Look, it's holding good current, that. See in a bit. It is, as you can see, attempting to go to the 160 milliamp stage. Now, one thing I keep forgetting, because yesterday with that other cell that I made, excuse me, where is it? The copper one, yeah, that one. I did say on the video that it feels marginally warm. And this is one of the things I keep forgetting to do is check the temperature, because obviously with all batteries you've got to think about internal resistance and stuff like that as well as everything else. So I mean, this I can't lie now, because that there, you can see a red dot, so you can see the surrounding temperature of the cell, which is 19 point, fluctuating, call it 19 degrees. Now the cell itself, again, I can't tell any lies because you can see a red dot on the cell. Okay, so it's balancing itself out, and it seems to be we'll call it 22. It does go down to 21, but we'll call it 22. So 2 degrees difference with a fair bit of current. So there you have it. Temperature as well now. In that I might have to start putting this little clock by the side of these things, because it quite literally now has been 3/4 of an hour. That hasn't budged from 160 milliamps. So, you know, it hasn't even started flickering towards 150 and then back to 160, 150, 160 like you'd normally see when it moves to its next level. So I guess I need to disturb it, because I wanted the meter, but I'll have to use another meter for checking out these other 2 bits and pieces I've got, and just leave that. So and the trouble is, I don't know where I bought a little tiny alarm clock thing to put besides these things, but I don't know where it is. It's lost in this big abyss somewhere, or this little man cave, I should say. But I suppose I could get my other mobile phone. I've got another one. Put that besides it. Yeah, I think I'll go away and get that. Right, well, excuse me, I've just taken a slurp. I know I keep doing this on my videos, but I don't want you to think I'm an alcoholic or anything. I just enjoy. Got some in there, look, in my fridge. I just enjoy a little sip of beer while I'm in the workshop. I don't go mad. I very often just have the one, because I have to drive home, obviously. Most of the time I don't drink the whole one. So that's that. Yeah, as I was saying, I was going to get my phone, but I started messing about with this other cell, and basically it's another small footprint cell. You know, there's nothing, you know, special about it in size. It's the magnesium again, but this I made a binder for the activated carbon, and that is all in one lump. I've done this before, but they crumble, so you have to keep going on again and going on again and going on again, and you know, as with everything, I suppose. So that's that, and that's the reason why I haven't gone and got that phone yet. But while I was talking about this last time, about it dropping to 150, it did, but this is now, it dropped literally an hour later from 160 to 150, so that's really working well at the moment as a compact cell. And the other thing is that I can move it. I can move the cell around because it's a proper encasement, and I've got the crocodile clips on it. So what we've got is we're using up most of that rod as an active surface, so that's the difference, I suppose. The active surface area, it's a bit like those, you know, that carbon rod in a carbon cell. They use all of the rod as an active surface. So there's your surface area dealt with. It's working very, 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 very well, that cell. I don't think it's dropped to its potential, as I call it, yet. There is another term for it, actually. Can't remember what it was when I was reading about these carbon batteries. Quite interesting reading that. I know it's old technology, but of course the original zinc carbon battery was a big difference to the later stuff, or the heavier duty stuff. If I could remember what the electrolyte was called, I'd say, but I can't. It's late and I'm tired. But anyway, back to this one. I'm just gonna, I mean, this is it now. I'm gonna just connect this up and I'm gonna have a tidy up, so, and then go home. Here we go, let's try this one. Did I wet it out? Can't remember. Don't even remember which one's the electrolyte now. 2 salts again. Let's see what it does in current. Okay, now that is pretty good, because that is my activated carbon glued together, if you like, with a binder. So it's working. How well it's going to work, I don't know, but it is working. Look, of course I'm holding the probe on again and it's not good. This setup is not good. You can never get a decent connection like we have with that. That's the difference. See, I've just moved, and you know, that should still be 160. See. Okay. I'll try and hold it as best I can, but really that was just to say that yeah, I've made a new binder for the activated carbon. I'm loving that. I've just moved again, but yep, I'm loving that. That I'm happy with. Not 100%, because I know that I've got to try it another 10 times yet with different variations on the strength of the binder, because the weaker the binder, the ideal situation is you weaken the binder to as much as you can, or to as weak as you can, and still get the thing to hold together. That's the ideal scenario. Anything else is just a no-no, isn't it? I mean, this at the moment, you've just seen that working, but I've now got to go back to it and make a weaker formulation. and see if that works, and if it does, make another weaker one and see if that works, and get to the point where it doesn't work, and then just do a U-turn, go back to the next one that did work. So that's that. But look, I've just moved that was 500 and something milliamps, millivolts I should say. It's going up again, but I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see it actually. That was 500 and something millivolts, which is, I've got to say, phenomenally good. Still no massive temperature rise there, so the internal resistance must be good. I want to actually start that. As I said, I got my other phone, because that has just dropped to 140 milliamps now. The 150 didn't last as long as the 160, but no matter. That is holding really good current for a long time. So like I say, I'm going to order lots more of these and use the casing, unless I can find something else I don't have to destroy, of course. You know, could be any bottle from anything really, anything that's plastic. We don't want metal obviously, but so yeah, I've had a couple of sips of this and it seems to have revitalised my brain. While the video was off, I was still here thinking about Wikipedia and the carbon, the zinc carbon battery, the old dry cell battery as they called it, which was 1.5 volts, zinc metal anode, electrode, which was the can obviously, and a carbon rod. Now I'm trying to think of what the description said. It was an electrochemical reaction between zinc and manganese dioxide with a suitable electrode. So the zinc was anode and the carbon rod was cathode, and it was classed as a general purpose battery, of course. The later ones, the word I was trying to think of was ammonium chloride in the later ones, or was that in the early ones? I can't remember. Anyway, one of the two. So that was the battery makeup, and the heavy duty ones mixed let's get this right, the ammonium chloride was mixed with zinc chloride, and the very heavy duty types were composed primarily of zinc chloride. Just wash my hands, look. So yeah, that was it was quite an interesting read. And of course what I should do, I keep blundering ahead. You know, I try and charge ahead really with my, you know, I'm blindfolded, hands tied behind my back, and I've got a ball and chain on one ankle, and I just, you know, blunder on. And really at the end of the day, all this stuff, I mean, all you need to do is get on Google and Wikipedia, and everything's there. Any battery that's ever been made is there. It's all there. All of the technology, the makeup, everything's all there. It was yeah, these carbon batteries, it's old hat really, I know that, but I'm kind of just starting out really. I've only been at it for as I've said before, 6 months or something like that. I'm playing catch up with a lot of it because I've only just found the time to be doing this. But anyway, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I was talking about redox reaction before, and there is actually a redox reaction going on with this lot, with the carbon and everything. I didn't really understand it. Right, it was called an electromotive force, EMF. That's the potential of the battery, the 1.5 volts potential of the battery. And there was what was it called? They were called half reactions. There was a cathode reaction and an anode reaction. The cathode was, I think, a complex reaction, whereas the anode wasn't. Whatever that means, I don't know. Perhaps more going on the cathode than the anode. It's all to do with ions and electrons and all that, isn't it? Yeah, I was wondering what happens to these things to make them break down and all the rest of it, and I got the answers on Wikipedia. That stuff there, what it is it self-cannibalizes itself. For that carbon battery to work, a part of the reaction is to eat away the zinc. That's the reaction, and it's called a side reaction, I think, which is yeah, I was wondering what happens to these things, and there's a couple of things. That it's a depletion of the active chemicals, i.e. I'm assuming there it was talking about the electrolyte. I'm trying to remember all of this now. And also, of course, with that, the internal resistance of the cell increases and your voltage decreases, so all of that is why these things die and they stay dead. That eats away at the casing, and this is what you get around the casing. Inside it, you get it outside. I suppose it's a bit of sulfation as well. I suppose it's a mixture of a lot of things. So all, yeah, some of that causes the resistance change, an increase in resistance in the internals of the battery, causes that EMF drop, as they call it, which is the 1.5 volts potential. So I don't fully understand it yet, but you know, I'm getting there, and what I'm going to do is use Google and Wikipedia a lot more than I ever have, because I've never really looked at batteries per se, you know. So that's that. We're still at 140 milliamps, look, while I've been yabbering on, and that's 7 minutes now, so I can't tell any lies as to what's been happening. It's all there in front of your eyes. Even this one now, if we try that again, it's probably dried out, because unfortunately I've got this cardboard on the bench and it sucks all the moisture out of the all the electrolyte out of the stuff. If I get a decent connection. No, I can't. Okay, there we go. And we would expect it to go up, of course, because they continue to do that. So just wet it out a touch, see what happens. Yeah, it's better, isn't it? I think this is I think these are great. Got to work on kind of surface areas now. I mean, if you think of let's see, a lithium cell, for instance, massive surface area. If you strip one down, you've got this rolled up, all of that rolled up in the cell. That is one heck of a surface area, that, you know, obviously with copper as well, and whatever else is in there, the electrolyte, but that, and it's all sort of, I suppose it's a nano surface, isn't it? That is microscopically thin, you know, not many microns at all, but yeah, surface area. Now, we know it's not effectively all about surface area. There are technologies out there where you don't need massive surface area to get good power. Robert Murray Smith, again, sorry to keep mentioning Robert Murray Smith, but you know what, I've called him a genius before, and I'll call him a genius again, because the guy is a genius. And I have said, I don't say that about many people. I didn't even say it about Einstein. I said it about Tesla, and I've said it about a lot of other people. But Robert Murray Smith is also, in my book, a genius. And I've said before, you can agree or you can disagree. I don't care, but in my book, and that's my opinion. So, 140 milliamps, still 10 minutes. Ah, look. So I'm guessing, I mean, the 160 was a good hour. The 150 was about half an hour, and that was 10 minutes. I'm saying that, but it's still there. Okay, I'll shut up. I'll have a sip. Do you know, I was trying to remember a TV programme where this, Keith Floyd was his name. It was a cookery show, and he was a superb chef. Some of the stuff he cooked, and he was always drinking on set, you know, on the film. And he used to say, "I'll just have a slurp," and I seem to have adopted his saying there. Okay, it's try and look. Yeah, I think we can safely say that kind of 11 minutes ish. It's at 1:30, but I'm not going to say it until it is there, and it stops flicking between 4 and a 3. So the trouble is with this stuff, all the best bits are at the end of the video. Now, my videos do tend to go on a bit, but at the end of the day, you save the end bits till last, and if someone gets bored halfway through and switches it off, they miss all the best bits. I don't know what they expect, you know, because if you go to the cinema, they don't put the best bits at the beginning, do they? They put the best bits at the end. Some films are weird, of course, and they have the good bits in the middle, and the rest is boring and nothing else happens, but that's very rare. So yeah, the best bits are always at the end, and to me this is the best bit, because no matter what it said initially, we know it's got to get to somewhere else, and that somewhere else is here now. So if you've got this far in the video and you've ever watched another one of mine and you've turned it off because you thought it was boring and you get going on for too long, well, you've missed out, mate. Yeah, so the zinc is attacked by the ammonium chloride. It's a sacrificial anode, isn't it? That's what it is at the end of the day. Now, I've got a sacrificial anode in here, I think, which is the magnesium. I've kind of got an idea in my head of how to stop that with a coating, but what I need to know is, I think I know that the reaction has to be with that magnesium, which is the surface of the magnesium, but I'm thinking about a coating of a particular magnesium where that wouldn't be a sacrificial anode anymore. It would just be the anode, and that's it. Because I was thinking about something that Robert Murray Smith said again, swapping over metals, the two metals swapping over with what you put in as a mix, and you've got two dissimilar metals, and it's in the chemical reaction where the metals swap over. You know, if you haven't seen his videos, I would suggest that you have a good look, because it is all there at the end of the day. In some stuff he tells you just about everything, and in other stuff I don't think he does it intentionally. Well, I know he doesn't. It's just the video at the time and what he says, and he tries to cram as much as he can into it, and he can't think of everything. Obviously, we're all human, so you know, that is what it is. Look at that now, 700 millivolts. 725 millivolts. Now that's been going up and down. I daren't touch it because it does it does move. But look, you know, it's at 1:30 now, and it was about 13 minutes, I think. So there we go. Trying to think about something else to say about these carbon cells, because that's what this is. It's a carbon cell. We know it's ancient technology. They've been around since, I think, the early 1900s, but so what, you know. I'm not trying to make a carbon cell, a zinc carbon cell. My cell is carbon and yeah, that stuff I can never think of the name of. Magnesium, yeah, magnesium. I'm gonna have to write it down on the back of my hand. 16 minutes since I've pressed that start button though, so you know, I'm sorry to take your time, but I hope you at least find some of this interesting. You can always fast forward, of course, and miss a few bits, miss the good bits that I say. Come back, Pete, we love you. Make another battery video. I'm going to say that in all of my videos now. I'm going to drive him mad. Oh dear. I was watching one today. He was trying to make gold, and he's put this video up and it was a failure. Why would you want to put a failure on? Put the best one on, Pete. Oh, I think he's great. I really do. Oh dear. You can see he's a grafter when you look at his hands, and you know, he's always messing around with something or other. But yeah. Pete. Better known as A. Just an A. Oh dear. So yeah, there we go. I'll knock this one on the head now, I think, and just I'll have to tell you all about it another time. I'll leave that as it is, and I'll do another obviously a few seconds on it later on, and we'll see how long it does take for that to get down to its level and stay at that level. I mean, it could be that, I don't know. Traditionally, it's in the past, it's with the others, it's been sort of 40, 50, 60, even sort of, you know, 25 milliamps. But to be fair, the lower readings were because there was no pressure on the cell, and every time you put pressure on the cell, it came back up, or if you fed it again with electrolyte, because it was drying out. So touch wood, that's what's been going on, and now it's not going on, because that is compact, as I said. That cell, it's very, very compact, which is brilliant. I don't have to touch it, I don't have to get a dent in my thumb or anything. It's great. So quickly, 38 minutes, it's at well, it was at 120, just changed to, or about to change to 110 milliamps. So as you can see, we're down to 100 milliamps now, and that's an hour. Wonderful. Put a load on one of these as opposed to you know, this dead short. It's in a dead short. I mean, that's, you know, it's never good, is it? So, and this thing, of course, is still taking electrolyte, so I'm guessing that it's not even got its correct amount of electrolyte in it yet. I've just disturbed this to test that little motor I was talking about. There it is, from a CD or a DVD player. Now it works. I've just tried it again on the power supply, all the way down to 0.2 of a volt. I've just disconnected this to try it, obviously, and look at this again. Now it was 20 seconds, you know, 20 seconds was all it was, and we're down, we're back up to that again. So which is just as well, because I've took my phone away to put it on charge for a minute. So when that gets back down to where it was, I think it was 100 milliamps, almost there. Look, I'll put the, I mean, the timer's still running, so it doesn't make a lot of difference really. It's getting there quickly, yeah. So, you know, won't make a lot of difference, will it? So while you've been away, or is it you or me? I don't know. Yeah, I've had to tidy up, as you can see. Much better like this. It's looking bare, but who cares? Yeah, it's 2 hours later from when I first put that on. I'll have to check to see where this was when I did that. I can't remember now. That has just this second now gone down to 80 milliamps. It's been on 90 for ages and ages and ages. I'll check back on the video obviously to see when it was and what happened, but of course I put this on too late, so should have put it on from the beginning really, which I'm going to do from now on. I actually use that phone as my second phone, emergency phone, so I've got another one which I'll keep for the workshop, as opposed to trashing that one, you know, getting carbon and stuff all over it. So but yeah, not a lot's happened. I was having a laugh and a joke, of course, about Pete earlier on in Australia, about his little failure with his gold thing, but of course, if the truth be known, we all get them. You know, I'll get 9 failures to the one important thing that happens well, like this, I think. And the other thing I've done, you see, is I've taped the top of the cell up now, and this is great because I can move it about, I can touch it, I can do things. You know, you can't beat this. I think it's full of electrolyte now, so yeah, I've taped it up. That should go some way into keeping it moist. So there you have it. On YouTube tonight, but to be fair, I think I'll leave it till tomorrow, which will be Sunday. It is now 10:09 PM on Saturday evening, and the worst part about this is my little man cave here is right next to a bar, so I'm guessing it's taxi tonight, because I know where I'm going in a minute. I'm not just going to stand here and watch this. When I can finish this and then go down to the bar and have some more of these Saturday night, for God's sakes, you know. So yeah, I said to Pete, oh, I wish you wouldn't do this to me, because, like, you know, every time he puts something up like that, I've got to have a go, and buy some more chemicals and buy this and buy that and have a blast at it, you know. Same really with Robert Murray Smith. You just wouldn't believe the order I've just put onto eBay. I've ordered probably, I don't know, well, a load more of these anyway. 50 mils as opposed, these are 20s, and loads and loads of other, just other stuff. I mean, I can't even think what I've ordered, to be fair, but it's just growing. I mean, the whole thing, it's just gone, you know, it's all this lot, isn't it, you know. It just goes on and on and on and on and on, you know. This is mainly Robert Murray Smith's fault, really. You know, started somewhere there with Laser Sabre, and then it just goes on and on and on and on, doesn't it, eh? Oh, there's my mate. Yeah, so I just keep buying stuff and trying stuff, which I enjoy, don't get me wrong. I mean, this little section there is all about binders and stuff, so yeah. Oh yeah, that's a point. I found it, had to tidy up, I found it, of course. That motor I was talking about. Now, power supply, 0.2 of a volt, as I said. What's this? Oh, wonderful. Hang on, hold on. I know this works. Let me put this camera back on there. Hey, look at that. Now that is 0.2 of a volt. No trickery. There it is. 0.2 of a volt. Now what I can do is I'll hold that with my right hand and just turn it up a bit. That's 0.3. 0.4, 0.5, 0.7, 0.9, 1.5 volts, whizzing away. Interesting stuff. We're down to 80 milliamps now. I just got to find out. Trouble is now I've got to stay, because I know if I don't stay I won't see the point at where, you know, it likes to be where that linear, that curve stops, and then it just goes on a linear line. Millivolts. I'm actually wondering if this is the self-regeneration level. That's 80 milliamps. If it is, I mean, that's a vast improvement to that cell, which I think was hovered at sort of 40-50, 40-50, but the problem was you got the 40 when you took the pressure off, and you got the 50 when you put the pressure on. So that cell has got its own pressure in there, so thank goodness I don't have to keep holding that one. Yeah, I'll stop boring you now, and I shall just come back in a bit and perhaps go and have a beer next door and in the bar. See, that's gone down now. It's settled out again. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on, do I? Not yet. Not fully. So 2 hours 15 minutes, look, from when we started this. All told now, it's got to be. It's 10:17 p.m. now. It's got this has been on for like 5 hours now, I would imagine, altogether. So there you go. Speak to you soon. Okay, fired it back up because 2 hours and 39 minutes. Just gone down to 70 milliamps. And if anyone is wondering why on my videos recently I've kept going like that, I've been developing some gel for my electrolytes, and what that is this stuff, which is a baby's nappy, or as our American cousins would call them, diapers. And this stuff is good for making gels. I can't remember what it's called, but they make fake snow out of it and stuff like that. But it just gets in the air like that and makes me do that. So I've got an extractor fan just above me, but it's a bit high. I have to lower it down to head height and keep it on while I'm messing with that stuff, because it can't be good for you. So that's that bit. There are other gels that you can buy. I mean, this is I bought this one. It's what's this for? I don't know what it's for, but it's like a skin. Oh yeah, let's see. Moisturizes dry skin. Yeah, that's it. So, you know, that's a gel. I'm gonna have a little bash with that. See what happens. I do know for a fact, because I've tried it. This other stuff is not what I want, because you can't put salt with it. You can put a lot of other things. You can put caustic soda in that, not a problem, to make up your electrolyte. But you put salt in it and it just turns back to a liquid, so it's a no-no for me. So there you go, 70 milliamps. It was 2 hours, whatever it was. Speak to you soon. Well, it's officially 3 hours now. I'm just well, 3 hours 10 minutes. It's trying to swap to 60 milliamps, as you can see. phone's at a different angle because I've got the charger plugged in it. That's what this leads for. That's at a funny angle because I've got the charger in that one. So 60 milliamps, 3 hours 15 minutes. Well, I am trying to hang in there. Well, obviously on 3 hours 46 minutes. It is 11:49 PM. And there you have the time. So I'm thinking that I've got to go. It's not just the fact that it's late. I'm hungry too. We're still at 60 milliamps. Faithful. It's still going. Got to put that on a circuit board obviously, but the usual crystallization, I assume, but that's been running since, this is the 10th, isn't it? Oh yeah, 10th of November. So yeah, still going strong, nice and bright on the LEDs, look. Yeah, the original crystal cell. If it drops to that 50, then I shall go and leave it overnight, because I know it will run overnight. 60 hours on the last one, so the difference is I wouldn't disconnect this one. If this one were to run on for 60 hours, then I would just leave it until it either gives up the ghost or it just carries on. And if it carries on, I'll just leave it forevermore. The most I would ever do is if I have to change the battery in the meter, that's it. So there you go. Speak to you soon.